This problem says, find the Norton's equivalent of the circuit to the left of a terminal A and B, and use the result to find I. So our terminal here is A and B, which we will use to find the result and to find the I. First thing we do is to use a loop analysis. In my turn, I will use loop analysis, but you can also use delta to y equation. First thing to do is to make a loop. I will consider loop, this will be going to loop A, and our source will going to be loop B, and this area will going to be loop C. So we will be getting in a loop analysis. We will start at KVL at loop A, which is negative A, 50, angle of 35, plus 30, angle of 10, plus 20, angle of 50. Goes plus 20 angle of 50 times B plus 30 angle 10 times C is equal to 0. That's our loop A. Therefore, that is our loop A. Therefore, we will be now computing this. What is the value of this? Negative A, 96.799 angle of 30.555 plus copy 20 angle of 50B plus 30 angle of 10 C is equal to 0. This will be your equation 1. Equation 1. Now, the second thing we do is to get the KVL at loop B. We will do the same, just this first one. So we will write, in this loop, we will get the loop of loop B. For in KVL at loop B, which is negative B times 20 angle of 50 plus 10 angle of 5, which is this, plus 10 angle of 5 plus 20 angle of 50 times A, and lastly we will get 30 angle of 40 volts, which is this. Now it is equal to 0. Now let's calculate this part. In this part, negative B, the value of 20 angle 50 plus 10 angle of 5 is going to be 27.979 angle of 35.361. Now, copy plus 10 angle of 5 times C plus 20 angle of 50 times A, this one times A, plus 30 angle of 40 is equal to 0. Now this will become our equation 2. Equation 2. After we get the loop B, we will be now getting our loop C. We will just do the same as this one and this one, the same process to this loop C. As we can see, we will just have the same process of the loop A and B. Now let's compute this area. The same as we did in loop A and loop B. So the value of 30 angle 10 plus 5 angle 5 plus 0 angle 5 is equivalent to 44.962 angle of 8.334. This equation will be now gonna be our equation 3. Equation 3. Now we are ready to write our value. We will now have 44.462 angle of 33.334 times C plus 10 angle of 5 times B plus 30 angle of 10 times A. Now our value of C, if we input it in a calculator, we will be having C is equal to 0.224 angle of negative 3.33 for B plus 0.667 angle of 1.6668. This will be gonna be our equation 3 prime. Alright? This will be our 3 prime. We will be going to substitute 3 prime to equation 2. Inputting this in our calculator, we will get the value of B is equal. After we get a value of this will be our 2 prime. Our equation 2 prime. Equation 2 prime. We will be now substituting 3 prime to equation 1. Substitute 3 prime to equation number 1. Okay? We have negative 96.799 angle of 30.555 times A plus 20 angle of 50 times B plus 30 angle of 10 times 0.224 angle of negative 3.334 times B plus 0.667 angle of 1669 is equal to 0. Okay? Therefore, we now have 96.799 angle of 30.555 times A plus 20 angle of 50 times B plus we will now be solving this area including this one. So the answer there is 6.720 angle of 6.666 times B plus 20.01 angle of 11.669 times A, or should I say this is A is equal to 0. What? Therefore, it is 78.135 angle of negative 144.6909 plus 25.312 angle of 39.502 is equal times b is equal to 0. Alright, we will now divide it, transfer this in. We will now have 78.135 angle of negative 144.6909 is equal to negative 25.312 angle of 39.502 times b. We will now divide it both sides by 78.135, 78.135 angle of 144.6909. Alright? Therefore, we get the answer of A is equal to 0.324 angle of negative 123.808. Alright, we have the value of A. This will become our equation 5 prime. Okay, equation 5 prime. Alright everyone, since we have the equation 5 prime, we will now withdraw the equation. First, we will withdraw the equation. This is our impedance 50, angle of 35 degrees. 30, our impedance 30, angle of 10 degrees. And 20, angle of 50. We also have impedance here, which is 10, angle of 5 degrees. And of course, our source, this is positive to negative, 30, angle of 40 degrees, volts. Now, as you can see here, we will now going to bring this. This is our I also, okay? I. We will going to open circuit, or should I say short circuit, this area, which will become our I V's of O. I can also use Z0, but I will prefer V's of O because my solutions already use V's of O. Okay, this will become positive to negative. This is our I. Okay. This is our I short circuit, ISC. This area will become my VO. Alright? We will now ready to solve the letter B. So we will then substitute 5 prime to equation 4. As we solved before our 5 prime and equation 4, we will now substitute 5 prime to equation 4. Alright? Equation 4. Therefore, we have 0.934 angle of 2.723 times B is equal to 0.903 angle of 4.173 times 0.324 angle of negative 125.808, negative 125.808 times B plus 1.072 angle of 4.639 is equivalent to 0. We will now get the answer. Therefore, it is equal to 1. Therefore, it is equal to 1.125 angle of 15.117. B is equal to 0.072 angle of 4.639. We will divide it both sides by 1.125 angle of 15.117, 11.7. Now we will get B is equal to 0.953 angle of negative 10.478. Alright, this is our B. We are now ready to substitute B to 5 prime. So we will now substitute B to 5 prime, okay? Substitute b to 5 prime. Therefore, a is equal to 0.324, angle of negative 125.808 times 0.953 angle of negative 10.478. Therefore, we have A is equivalent to 0.309 angle of negative 136.286. This is our A. Next is substitute B, sub B to third prime. Alright? Sub B to third prime. We will have C is equal to 0.224 angle of negative 3.334 times 0.953 angle of negative 10.478 plus 0.667 angle of 1.666, okay, 6 times multiplied by 0.309 angle of negative 136.286. We will now get C is equal to 0.213 angle of negative 13.812 plus 0.206 angle of negative 134.62. Therefore, C is equal to 0.207 angle of negative 72.531. This is our eyes of. As you can see here, we will now use a KVL again, but this time we will use our new drawing. Okay, our ISC. We will use the loop A and loop B. As you can see, this is our short circuit. Okay, a KVL at loop A. A KVL at loop A. The KVL in loop A, negative A times 50 angle of 35 degrees plus 20 angle of 50 degrees. This is plus 20 angle of 50 degrees times B is equal to 0. Next, compute this will become negative 69.512 angle of 39.271 times A plus 20 angle of 50 times B is equal to 0. This will become again our equation 1. Equation 1. Next is KVL at loop B. KVL at loop B. In KVL at loop B, we have negative B times 20 angle of 50 plus 10 angle of 5 plus 20 angle of 50 again times A plus 30 angle of 10 is equal to 0. Computing this again, we will have negative 27.979 angle of 35.361 times B plus 20 angle of 50 times A is equal to this one 30 angle of 10. This will become negative because we are going to put this out. Now, this will become 20 angle of 50 is equal to negative 30 angle of 10 plus this one 27.979 angle of 35.361. There's a B there, so times B. We will now divide it both sides by 20 angle 50. Divide it both sides by 20 angle of 50. 15.831 angle of 19.277, 20.852. Angle of 81.218. Angle of 81.218. We will now have A is equal to 1.5 angle of 140 plus 1.399 angle of negative 14.639. 639 times B. Okay, this will become our, again, equation 2. This is equation 2. We will now then substitute equation 2 to equation 1. Substitute E2 to E1. Alright? In substituting equation 2 to equation 1, we have negative 69.512 angle of 39.271 times 1.5 angle of 140, this one, plus 1.399 angle of negative 14.639 times B is equal to 0. Alright? So, we will now be computing this in our calculator. Our value will become negative 104.268 angle of 179.271 minus 97.247 angle of 24.632 times B plus 20 angle of 50 is times B is equal to 0. Okay? We will now have 79.638 angle of negative 161.54 5 times B is equal to 104.268 angle of 179.271. We will now divide both sides by 79.638. We will now divide 79.638 angle of negative 161.545. So our B, computing this, we will have our B is equal to 1.309 angle of negative 19.184. This is our another B, right? Or should I say this is our B? Sub our B to equation 1. Okay? So, negative 69.512 angle of 39.271 times A plus 20 angle 50.309 angle of negative 19.184 is equal to 0. Therefore, we will get 26.18 angle of 30.816 is equal to 69.512 angle of 39.2719. We will now divide it both sides by 69.512. 69.512 angle of 39.2719. I'm so sorry, this is A. This is A. Therefore, our A is equal to 0.377 angle of negative 8.455. This is our new A. We will now then again perform the KVL at loops X. So in this drawing, we will use this as our loop X. Okay? KVL at loop X times angle 5 times 1.309 angle of negative 19.184 0.184 times 30 angle of 10 multiplied by 0.377 angle of negative 8.455 minus V's of O is equal to 0. So our V's of O is equivalent to 13.09 angle of negative 14.184 plus 11.31 angle of 1.545. Angle V's of 0 therefore is 24.172 angle of negative 6.897 volts. This is our V's of 0. We will now then use the formula ZO is equal to VO over ISC. This formula. So our ZO is equivalent to 24.172 angle of negative 6.897 volts all over our ISC last time is 0.207 angle of negative 72.531. Therefore, computing this in our calculator, we have ZO is equal to 116.773 angle of 65.63 angle of 65.63. This will become our ZO. We will now use the formula again, formula I. To get our I, we will use I is equivalent to V's of O all over Z0 plus Z1. This formula. Alright? So our I is equivalent to 24.172 angle of negative 6.897 all over this one ZO is 116.773 angle of 65.63 plus our Z1 is the one that in here in our first drawing, which is 5 angle of 5, right? Plus 5 angle of 5. Therefore, our I is equivalent to 0.203 angle of negative 70.434 ampere. This is our final answer.